Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow, take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Welcome back and welcome to a very rare Monday night. Ever since an insane 101 night streak, we've kind of shied away from doing crazy shit like that again and taking at least one day off. Shit, six nights, 6 days a week we do stream, and most of those, at least a quarter of those, are multiple. Saturdays sometimes you get us like 3 times.
Yeah.
Sundays,
Yeah, guys. Of course, if it looks like I'm still recovering from today's Catwoman watch party. Well, it was Catwoman, so what did you expect?
Yeah. I don't know what bugged you more. I mean, that or Chappie. Every other sentence was about showgirls, and we probably need to investigate why that was.
Yeah, which no, we are mutually putting our foot down that we are not doing a watch party on show.
I mean, I don't need to see that movie. I mean, that's just Elizabeth Hershey, or what I think her name is. She recovered from that one. She went from Saved with Berkeley, Elizabeth Berkeley. She went from Saved by the Bell to that, and that was supposed to be a big,
That was like one of her first movies. So
the first movie. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead, because I don't know if I'm going to get kicked. I shouldn't get kicked off for showing this trailer, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm doing it from their website, not website.
From their YouTube.
From their I couldn't find it on YouTube. Their Twitter. Yeah, I can't talk today. So let's do this. Netflix. I think they've only dinged us for doing the live one. They took us off for that one, but the other ones, if it's not live, they usually don't mess with us. But oh, there it is. I like that artwork though.
Yeah. Oh, and you're gonna see a lot of red in this trailer. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a red band. They didn't mess around with that. Hold on. All right, ready? Here we go.
That was entirely new footage.
Yeah, it's a whole.
Yes.
I mean, the argument that it's a whole different movie is.
Oh, it's already ringing true. I mean, it's clearly. I mean, yeah, this definitely really is the gloves off from the PG-13 cuts.
Yep, you got your obligatory sex scene from
Oh yeah.
They cut that out.
I swear, there's one guy gets shot in there. It's like, I'm telling you, if you freeze frame right, it's like I saw an eyeball when the guy's head gets exploded and there's blood flying everywhere.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. There's a whole character that I didn't see. That one giant robot-looking lady. With the she wasn't in the original.
I was really curious if there'd be more Darien blood acts. So it looks like there's going to be.
Looks like it's past tense. That's all past tense now that the movies are done. But yeah. I didn't even notice him at all in the trailer. That's the second time I watched.
Well, there's only like one shot of it. It was him like chopping somebody down. So that's pretty awesome. I don't know. They're going. Now, one thing I will say though, as far as like the marketing goes, I do still I think the best trailer they have done in terms of just pure marketing, if you're just getting people into this universe, is I still may think that the first one probably is my favorite, just because it just
Which
feels
one is that? Which one
that
is that?
that was the one that was advertising both of them, that had the it was the very first teaser. The teaser was like 3 minutes long, basically.
Which was the one that had Anthony Hopkins with voiceover? Was that the
That
first
that
one?
that was it. That was it. That was it. So that because that one just had kind of the most epic scope, and this one is like, I mean, it's an awesome trailer, but also it is I mean, since it is the design of the trailer really is, to a large extent, it's less about like advertising the movies themselves and more kind of pulling back the curtain on like, here's everything you didn't see that you're going to see. So functionally, it is kind of is atypical for what you expect for a trailer, because it is. I mean, it's kind. It's. I mean, it's showing like, Zack Snyder's true vision. So it is kind of riding a little bit on the whole Snyder cut phenomenon about we've seen a portion of what he did.
Stop using that term. We got to stop using that term. Stop.
But it doesn't matter. It's I mean it's embedded in the culture whether we like it or not.
Yeah, but it brings shit to the culture. Sometimes we don't want to. But anyway, I thought that this trailer was not supposed to be traditional, simply because it had a different role than the original trailers did. The movie's out. The introduction to Rebel Moon is out. What this is showing you was everything pretty much that you missed. Everything that they showed you, for the most part, by design, was particularly, that was stuff that you never saw at all, not even a glimpse of. And that drives home the point that there is a point to watching this now. There's a point to the wait and all that. So I thought that advertising. I mean, there's a lot of people who are going to split down the middle about whether they should have released everything at once. The bottom line is they didn't have to. They judge success differently than a fanboy or one of these traditional critics will ever judge it. I still think it's another 5 or 6 years before the actual establishment understands how they need to look at things that are released on streaming and those trends. Fanboys will never have a clue, because we'll never be able to unfuck ourselves from the traditional box office, because that's all we've known. But critics, they're years away from being able to understand why these strategies work, why Netflix is where they're at. They don't need advice from people, with their face pressed up against the executive glass door. They have a plan and they executed it. People may not like it, but it works. We started talking about Rebel Moon in November, or actually before that. I mean, the premiere, we were talking about it for years, but up until the point where it was released, we started talking about that in December. We are now headed towards August. And we've given them the majority of whatever advertisement Netflix would have needed to get this going. We've given it to them by this conversation. So kudos to them.
Well, we just got a super chat from Rational Skeptic. Will the R-rated cuts get their separating? I think they will. I that's a good question, but I'd imagine so.
Oh, is he talking about Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, I mean, we're not like big Rotten Tomatoes guys.
Yeah, they're gonna. I can already tell you, Rotten Tomatoes and the people who make up Rotten Tomatoes are gonna shit on it. That's why. But like I said, I pulled out plenty of examples where Rotten Tomatoes and Cinema Score have been useless. If it's something you're into, go see it. I can't put it any simpler than that. But I do, like, to your point, they did market the Snyder Cut thing, and I'm like, that's where I disagree with them doing. I understand the business aspect of extending the conversation, but the term Snyder Cut right now brings in with it things that you don't want in your conversation all the time, and it kind of hurts things because it becomes a gimmick. If you keep using that term, every time you use it, it has less meaning, and it becomes a gimmick. And it's like, understood the strategy, but at the same time, you kind of marketed on something that was a unique, once in a lifetime movement. You're never going to be able to. Netflix is never going to be able to replicate that, because they're not going to do. Who wants to go through 5, 6, 7 years of misery, of mismanagement to get to that point? So, understood on the one hand, business aspect, but at the same time, it's time to put that movement in its spot in history from so and so to 2001, and that's it. There's no more Snyder cuts to be released. This wasn't the Snyder cut. This was Netflix's strategy. This was them extending the conversation. Something even with or without Zack Snyder, they need to do more often, because the way they release stuff, the conversation is over as soon as it begins. You extended the conversation, whether you like Rebel Moon or not. The conversation lasted from December, and it's going to last all the way up until August 2nd. They need to do that with all stuff, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and of course, there's going to be some stuff like the Props of Rebel Moon panel or event, or whatever that's going to be. San Diego Comics, so you're going to be able to see some of this there. Now, is that only going to be? Do we know if that's only going to be stuff we've already seen, or is that going to be anything?
I heard, from what I understood, it's just props. It's not even
okay.
It's not even a presentation. I don't. They didn't put out a lot about it, but from what I can tell from the reading on the schedule, it's just the props. So like probably going to be costumes, probably going to be uniforms, probably going to be like Jimmy or something like that. From what I understand, unless I get more information, I'm looking for more information about that. But it looked like the description of it was a props event, something like that. So okay. I'm going to visit it though, because it's still going to be cool.
Yeah, well, like at CCXP, they had one hell of an exhibit for it there.
Yeah, Comic-Con, they're going to be they're going to be in one of the upper exhibit rooms, one of the rooms, the ballrooms. So what I'll do is, if I get in there, I'll probably save that footage for anything that we do the following week, which is on Friday, because it gets released to the public on Friday. So we'll definitely be doing something for it then.
Yeah, I don't know what else about this trailer really jumped out though. I mean, I get it's like it's clearly really emphasizing, yes, this is a very R-rated expansion of what we've seen. I mean, I don't think there's a single frame or shot in this that we had seen in the earlier releases. So that definitely excites me a lot. Like both of them are supposed to be like 45 minutes to an hour longer. And even, that like a lot of the context of things is going to change. The world and the backstories of characters is going to, be a lot more expounded upon. So yeah, it's going to be really, and of course they're dropping the same day too, both of them. So that's going to be definitely a lot to dive on. So looking forward to seeing the full scope of the Rebel Moon duology here. Yes, that watch party was rough because it was Catwoman.
Oh, come on, RJ. You don't have the stomach for showgirls?
No.
He put the showgirls on showgirls. See, but now, like I said, they made sure to show you things that you clearly did not. Like, they held back a whole portion of both of the movies. So, and that was by design, which is like, cool. Like I said, there's like the one character, the woman-looking character with all the wires in her head. So it looks kind of important, and we didn't see one glimpse of her. And then the original.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, as a number of people in the community have read the novelization, which is based on the director's cuts. And a lot of them have said, like, yeah, there's characters, there's plot lines, there's planets. How's it going, Ruth? Yeah. There's a ton of stuff in there that we didn't see at all, or that just the context of their role is significantly different. So yeah. It is going to really be a whole different experience, and I cannot wait. Cannot wait to see all of it.
It's a great trailer, but I continue to maintain that these should have been released, only versions released. There never should have been a PG-13 cuts unless left with putting it in theaters. Now, once again, that's the theatrical experience is not what Netflix is selling. So everybody who thinks that everything that they see on Netflix, if it's good enough, no, that means that's something that they value more, and they want you to come. They sell streaming. They don't sell box office experience. And once again, like I said, I'd be open to disagree with it or not, but are we talking about this IP now if they've done that? No. That conversation, for the most part, is over maybe 2 weeks after it's released, and we're on to the next thing. So they invested enough money into it, I guess, to where they wanted to extend the cut. Now, once again, the whole trying to exploit, our misery and that fucking hashtag, that I see as something they should never do again. And I want all platforms to stop. If you want to extend the conversation and just do that, just do that. But as far as like, there's other ways to extend the conversation. They chose this one. Be honest with you, it's effective because here we are in August, heading in August, still talking about it. So it's easy to criticize a company for doing something from the outside but if it's working, then it's effective. I would have done it differently, personally. I would have, I would have found some way to break it up. But like I said, they wanted to take advantage of that. So there's good and bad in the strategy. The good is that it worked. The bad is that it's fact. It's like I said, I just need, I'd rather have you, if you want to break it up into episodes or parts and stuff like that and spread it out and release, a couple of them each quarter or something like that, so that we're talking about your product calendar year. That's a good strategy. Netflix needs to embrace that instead of just blowing their whole wad and then you're on to the next thing. Binge watching, I think binge watching is a bad model for a business these days. Now I understand why they did it when they first started, but now when Netflix first developed the binge model, there wasn't a bunch of streaming services that are fighting for your dollar. And it's a lot easier to dump a streaming service when, if I've watched everything I want to watch on this channel, all 8 episodes got released on the same day, I'm going to cut this and maybe, take my money to Disney Plus or Paramount or whatever the other ones are. But when you keep their interest, you keep their money. So I would like to see them make that adjustment. Like I said, what they're doing is working, so it's hard to really criticize it. But like I said, my only problem is that, like I said, they wanted to exploit something that really is done and should not be exploited ever again. But it worked. You got that? Okay, cool. Let's go down. Zack Snyder's chief version is pure cynical marketing on Netflix. Like I said, I sort of agree, but it worked. To create the Snyder Cut hype, which is lame considering that it's planned from the beginning like a marketing gimmick. I like I said, from the business end, it worked. From the as somebody who came through all this and been on the border in the vicinity of all that from the beginning, I think it's fucking lame to bring it up anymore because, and here's why. It loses its meaning. It loses its meaning, especially that one, because that happened. That moment happened. It came. We celebrated it, and that's our thing. When you try to use this again, you turn it into a joke. You turn it into a punchline. Now they got their pound of flesh out of it, and that's fine. But for those of us who went through all that, do you want what you? Was it a joke to you? I mean, I don't know. And is it effective anywhere else? We're never going to be able to use that to get anything else done. So yeah, I sort of agree with you there, but unfortunately it works, so they're not going to stop. I don't know. What do you think, Brad? You've been awful quiet.
I mean, yeah, I'm kind of of two minds on it because it's as I was saying a minute ago, the term Snyder Cut and the story behind the Snyder Cut is so, it's become such a legend. I mean, I was sharing there, like just within the last week. I mean, I'm talking to people in my dojo who are like just discovering the story, and I'm filling them in on it. So I mean, this just the legend around it, really just continues to accrue and build over time, and of course that's that's something that you can't it really is kind of one of a kind. But yeah, I can also see the argument, but it's like, yeah, but all of that as far as like the impact of that and the applicability of that towards anything else really is specific to Justice League, and not really to Rebel Moon or Army of the Dead or anything else Zach would make, because the circumstances around that are very specific. So yeah, I kind of see both sides of it, where it's like it's like you want to, if Netflix wanting to associate the term and sort of the cultural currency of the term Snyder Cut to Rebel Moon. Yeah, so I mean, business wise, yeah, I totally get why they'd be behind that, but you can't replicate the how and the why of that to Rebel Moon, because how we're getting the director's cuts of Rebel Moon is a completely different set of circumstances for how we got Zack Snyder's Justice League. So, Aaron's got a good one here. I absolutely love the trailer. The Snyder Cut is branding. I feel I'm all for. Yeah, that's kind of where I fall. It's like they Netflix, they clearly appreciate the branding of it. They appreciate the brand value and the cultural currency of the term. And if that's the extent of what you're taking, for it as far as Rebel Moon goes, then it's like, I think that's I think that's one thing. But as William was alluding to, as far as the why of it, or the mechanism of, or the applicability of it, or like what the Snyder Cut means in terms of how it came about and the impact that it has. I mean, it has impact like industry wide and on the genre it's within, but you can't and you're not going to engineer like anything anything out of Rebel Moon, with Snyder Cut term attached to it. It's again the applicability of that as far as like what that can mean for anything in the future that resides with Justice League. With Rebel Moon, it's like it's a cool sort of marketing sort of bonus they just kind of plugged into it, and I can definitely see both sides of it.
Yeah, and like I said, it worked. It worked with him.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm of the whole thing is I don't believe in hashtags. I think hashtags are bullshit because they're easy. The easiest thing in the world to ignore when you want to is a hashtag. You may get a moment here or there, but it's not sustainable. I always say speak in the language of the person you want something from, and whenever there's an opportunity to get behind something for real, hashtags are not real. Like money, buying, purchasing, things like that. That's what that's when you take your shot. If you notice, when I use hashtags and anything else, it's hashtags relevant to what I'm talking about. And even in fact, as a matter of fact, when we were doing our entire charity focused around Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, you can go back and check. You never ever saw a hashtag Restore the Snyderverse, and you never will on mine, and you never. I'm pretty certain I was very careful not to use hashtag the Snyder Cut. We use all the other ones because those are pointless at this point. And all they do is like I said, it makes a noise that nobody's hearing.
Well, like I said, it's like in terms of like in terms of it as a mechanism, it's like in terms of as a rallying cry, or like in terms of what it can mean for like actually generating something tangible. That's like the applicability or the association, that the tangible side of it, like again that's associated with Justice League. That's because that's the movie it was originated from. When it comes to Rebel Moon, it's really it's an apples and oranges thing. So it's not a nefarious thing, I think, on Netflix's part. To want to sort of
not capitalist.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's a business decision. It's a business model, and Zach himself has talked about. He's had, even before Justice League, he's had such a history of, having to sort of pare down a lot of his movies, and then he would like go to the home media distributors and say, hey, it's like I got more footage here, so we can kind of double dip on this. So he's really been around the block in terms of the director's cuts, probably more so than any other filmmaker, in the modern era. So, the idea of him being very associated with extended cuts or director's cuts, it's not unique to Justice League, but the term Snyder Cut really encapsulates sort of the culmination of that we saw with Justice League. But again, as William said, you're not, restore the Snyderverse is like, that's not something that's applicable to Rebel Moon, because that's not what it's intended for. It's not that the message is, directed in it to a different party, a different direction, for a different goal. Snyder Cut, even, being associated with Rebel Moon, it's not even like meant to necessarily elicit like anything that the fandom is actively pursuing. It's like Zach had really a real cultural watershed moment here, and we're doing this release model where we're going to put out the PG-13 version first and Zach's extended version first, just so he, as he talked about, it's like I'm kind of, we're meeting in the middle about, we can have the, sort of the normie version that, Netflix puts out for the mainstream audience, and then kind of the diehard version that comes next, and that's where the term Snyder Cut is applied. So yeah, that's kind of a long-winded way of saying, it's a business decision. It's not a cynical one or a nefarious one. I don't think William thinks, but also it needs to be kind of really understood within the context that it's being applied in this case.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's I don't know. I think part of it is just the exhaustion of it to a certain point of where we're at. I want to be able to watch Rebel Moon, or however you feel about its quality or whatever, without that being a part of it. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not watching Justice League. I'm not watching Man of Steel right now. On August, I'm watching this.
And that is fair too. To as far as like the idea of like even within the Snyder fandom, it's like we want to be able to enjoy his non-Justice League work without for as much of an uphill battle as getting Zack Snyder's Justice League released. That's not something we have to carry into everything he does. I mean, it wasn't, when I saw Army of the Dead, that wasn't, the only to the extent the Snyder Cut was in the back of my mind when I saw it, it's just because of how recently I had seen it. But that was the extent of it. And when it comes to Rebel Moon, it's like I totally get the desire. Like, I want to see what he's done without having to have the I don't know if baggage is the right word, but the history and the struggle that the term Snyder Cut connotates because of how much of a battle that was. So yeah, it's a nuanced conversation, but as William
Especially
said,
because we lived it.
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, for an outsider, maybe it's intriguing to you, maybe it's cute, but as somebody who was there promoting these movies while all this craziness is going on, I mean, there will be a time and a place for that discussion, but it's not everything that he's doing.
And I think probably that's too. That's kind of much more so what Netflix is counting on as far as like trying to get some of the Snyder Cut action on Rebel Moon. They're counting, I think, much more so on the normies who like maybe are kind of tangentially familiar with the term, but weren't in the weeds with it like the rest of us, and so they might have heard, seen Snyder Cut in the ether. Maybe they have kind of a passing familiarity with what that's all about, but we can tell you, just to give you like the whole history of like of what that's all about. But as I just said, it's like I still to this day meet people who I'll be giving the Cliff Notes version of it on, but it's also good to go into a Zack Snyder movie and like just want to see what he did on this one, and like not have to think about about the one movie you had to really fight tooth and nail of his to see.
Or a reminder of I mean of where I'm at now, where you got a company that just is makes some of the wackiest decisions. And
yeah, it's true too.
So it's like it's almost like this whole struggle reminds me of where I'm at with Warner Brothers and DC right now. And like I said, I wish those guys the best. I hope that absolute Batman, absolute DC, and all this takes off and does well enough to where other aspects of the company take a look at that and be like, wow, we should have been doing that, years ago, because I do think the parallel diversity that's going to happen with those stories, or where you're not killing one story in order to get another going, I think that's really going to work. I think that has the potential to really, really be one of the best things that they've done in the last 15 or 20 years. And I don't say that lightly, because I've been there for everything they've done in the last 15, 30, 20 years. Hell, I've been there since 86, watching them fuck up a universe and over again. So when I say that what they're doing right now with Scott Snyder could eventually be a blueprint for how they can do things, because if you like the current Justice League and you like the tone of those stories, you shouldn't have to have your line ended just because a guy like me wants a darker tone, a more apocalyptic tone. You should be able to do them both. And guess what? I've watched this happen at my very counter. Just because you make something drastically different from something else under the same banner doesn't mean that those people will not buy them all. Batman fans are Batman fans. They generally will experience. I got people who were afraid of the Black Label stuff and you know, Batman Damned and all that stuff. They were like, oh, that's too intense for me. I'd rather just keep my traditional shit. But as they came in every week and they looked at that wall, and you know, eventually, hey, that's Batman, so they gave it a shot, and vice versa. So I think diversity doesn't necessarily mean exclusion. It just gives you, you know, just gives you the variety that DC really, you know, you really should have. So I'm hoping things get better with them. But like I said, this whole exhaustion with, you know, there's a time and place for the Justice League and that conversation to be had. And it's going to be when you have an opportunity to put some money down to support something that might lead to it. Until then, hashtags don't mean shit to me. I really don't think they mean shit to the people that really, you know, you're targeting for, because they become like white noise. It's become like when you're walking in a Home Depot and the beeping sound on the forklift is supposed to keep you alert, but you hear it so often you just don't hear it anymore. So you have to honk the horn to break everything up. That's what it's become now. It's become white noise.
When you talk about the you're talking to them the language they understand. I mean the you know the leverage points. I think you know we've seen much more so as far as like as far as Justice League, where the Snyder Cut term is applied. I mean, it's things like Zach, working with Warner Bros. Again on the 300 prequel series. It's the the teases of the ZSJL theater run, however limited that may be. It's the upcoming Egyptian theater event. Those are the things.
And you show up for those. Yeah, you show up for those. That's how you do it.
Those offer data. Those also get the parties speaking again. So those are should be viewed as the main leverage points and the main tools of pursuing what the fandom wants to see out of that. But it's the hashtag really. It had the release, and I did have some fun with it too. I mean, I got cheeky with the trailer today. I said, I was like, what's the cool term people use now? Release the Snyder Cut, which I mean, I wasn't trying to be taken seriously with that, but it's it served its purpose at the time that we used it, when and in the manner that we leveraged, through the medium that we did, which was social media, and through through just showing the groundswell of support for it. So yeah, there's layers to this. There's layers to understanding why the term Snyder Cut has been plugged into Rebel Moon. It's like the way that should be taken and the way that it shouldn't be taken is probably the kind of where we're coming down. Now RJ's also got one here. If everything is a Snyder Cut, then it loses its feeling like something special. It loses that event status just because of a marketing gimmick that will have diminishing returns sooner or later. I think that's pretty much what William's saying.
Yeah. I personally, I haven't had to ban the hashtag because it doesn't come up in that format. But like I said, it's like you went through it. We know what we got out of it, and we know where we're at. And to be quite honest with you, where we're at with Warner Brothers Discovery, you might have some other hashtags that might be more
it's almost not even a matter where we're at. It's a matter kind of where if you're it's like insert IP here. If you're a fan of it, it's like where are you at with Warner Brothers Discovery right now?
Yeah, because I just don't know who's going to be running the company. Yeah.
All right.
So we're going to go to.
Yeah, I do have an Instagram, Droga. The problem is I'm just not a big picture taker, so I hardly ever use it. So I really need to start doing that though, because with the stuff in the dojo and just day-to-day life, I need to start using it more, man. I know people tell me that it's like
I got an Instagram page. I take tons of pictures.
Yeah. Well, you got a store to take pictures in. So, yes, I did see this too. King Spawn. We officially have a script. So, I guess that's step one of this very, 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 very long in development Spawn reboot. However much William hates that.
That's a horrible. Well, this is not even a reboot. This is the movie. This is the movie because they're not. Yeah. This is not even Spawn. This is something completely new. King Spawn, Jason Plum teases a new screenplay for long. That's an awful picture to use though.
I think the suit's actually pretty good in the 97 movie.
Yeah, but we're not talking about the 97 movie, and that's what I mean. So
I get that, but I mean,
I would have rather than just use a cartoon.
Oh yeah. So if you're if you're dead set and use live action, this is kind of what you got. But if you're going to use comics or animation, you definitely have more of a canvas to work with.
Yeah, I would have just used the comic because that's what it's based on. Any other adaptation, because Blumhouse is going to take it from there. But that's a decision. We've been talking about Blumhouse planned Spawn movie for many years now, and each new update on the project tends to be more like a non-update. This is courtesy of John Squires and John Squires from Bloody Disgusting, so I'll give him his credit. But both Jason Blum and Todd McFarlane have taken to social media to share an image that seems to suggest the movie is finally getting off the ground, and that's the picture of the thing I retweeted. It's the script with all the names on it. Let's see. At the very least, a new script has been written. That's probably the most important part of this whole thing, because most guys in production companies don't want to go forward until they at least have that. Blum and McFarlane shared the same photo on X this afternoon, and do I have that on here? Here we go. There you go. So there's the script. So we got a script. It doesn't give much information beyond when it's going to be released, but let's look at the history of Jason Blum and his productions. Once a script is done, they don't waste time. If you go back and look at the development for most of his things that have been made, once a script is done, they pretty much move very fast after that. They go into pre-production, and in a movie like Spawn, you'll probably move even faster because of all the effects that have to be laid on at the same time. So this is probably, if you're looking for probably the most important Spawn update, other than Blumhouse taking over the project to begin with, this is probably the next most important, because they're not some fly-by-night studio. They finish what they start, and they generally get it done quickly, and they generally get it done with a budget that puts everybody in a really good position to make money. So kudos, happy to see it.
I mean, like, they're very economical, and by that I mean it's like they're a lot of their budgets, it's like $2 a paper cup on a rubber band to get something made. So they know how to get the most out of their resources.
Yeah, I mean, $7-8 million movies that make 100. It's been a long, hard road of development held between this brand and Spawn feature, which Todd McFarlane had originally planned to direct. Jamie Foxx had been attached to play the title character at one point, but we have no idea if that's still the plan. Stay tuned. Spawn persevered in Spawn #1. I remember those days. Back in May of 1992, the character first came on screen in 1997 from New Line, starring Michael Jai White, and got an animated treatment courtesy of HBO in the late 90s. David Keith voiced the sponsors. In the comic, Spawn is a former Black Ops agent who makes a deal with a demon after being betrayed and killed. The demon allows him to return to Earth, but when he returns, 5 years have passed, his wife has moved on, and he roams Earth as a disfigured spawn of hell. Man, with Spawn #1 in Image in a lot of those comics. I'm not knocking Image. Image was great for the industry, but they were part of what I've talked about with like the whole death of Superman and the clones and everything else, to where it got saturated, and it in Image and Spawn and Wildcat, all that they were printing. It was an alleged indie that was printing out a shitload of copies. And everybody had to have Spawn #1. And for a while, it shot up really high, and then it tanked, and then now it's starting to go back up again. But yeah, 1992, Spawn #1 came out, and it was different than any other indie, because Todd McFarlane had just come off a run of Spider-Man. Jim Lee had just come off of a run of X-Men. So you're talking about heavy hitters that were on heavy hitter books coming over and starting. So they took that popularity with them. And they had backing, man. They put out a lot of stuff. But man, 1992, I can't believe it's 32 years since that character came about. But yeah, good news on the Spawn front. I wasn't a huge fan of the 1997 movie, but given it was 1997, a character that was 5 years old, normal standards, you probably wouldn't have even made that movie. Yeah, that's unprecedented. Generally, when they do superhero movies, it's generally with a name people recognize. But Spawn had become so successful in the early 90s that they took a stab at it. The cartoon was kind of cool. I actually enjoyed the cartoon. The cartoon was done reminded me of Liquid Television and what the Max was doing back
Well, the HBO
when they were
series,
revolutionizing that.
it's much truer to the tone of the comics. I mean, it's far more visceral and dark, and I mean, there's stuff you see in the HBO series that they for the PG-13 rating they were going for with the movie, they just never would have gotten away with.
Yeah, and there are things embedded in Spawn that are not for kids and are not for a PG audience. There's a child molester as a clown based on a John Wayne Gacy type character. If you read the earlier copies, they don't explicitly show stuff, of course, but the implications are very powerful. They are very artistically pushed, and that's one of the violator. I mean, there's certain things that happen in Spawn that really are deep, and you wouldn't have been able to do in a mainline comic. That's one of the things that they wanted. They wanted creative control. They wanted creative control over those characters, but they also wanted to be able to go without limits. So, and Tom McFarlane is my favorite comic artist. But the thing about Spawn that I will have to say that I did not like when it came to Tom McFarlane art was due to the nature of what Spawn was. A lot of his stories took place in the dark and with a lot of base colors. The thing that made me love Tom McFarlane when he had Spider-Man is it was so colorful. Comic books are called a 4-color fantasy because of the 4 colors that you use to make all the colors that you ever need. And he used everything. He used that broad spectrum in Spider-Man. In fact, it was him and David Michelinie's idea to go from the black costume, which was a popular costume, back to the red, black, and blue one because of the way the color bled, and he could do more with the character. So it was ironic. So 3 years later, when he goes to Spawn and all these dark alley shots and darks, blacks, and red. I mean, it's still brilliant, right? But it's not, like when I show you that comic, my favorite comic cover that he ever did, the one I got autographed, all those colors out there. I just love that about him. And there just wasn't a lot of that in his Spawn work, but it was still good. Like he would still do stuff like Angela and, stuff like that. But like I said, I'm a big fan of his Spider-Man run. All right. So those are the 2 main things I wanted to get off my our chest. Comic-Con, let's say. Yeah, it'll be great to promote it. Like I said, Blumhouse movies do well. Spawn is doing all right. Not like in that heyday. I mean, but you can say that across the board for comics in general. But Spawn, given what the company's been through, is doing all right. King Spawn is actually the best-selling book, which is ironically what they're going to name this movie. So, but you have Gunslinger Spawn. You got a couple of different ones. Greg Capullo is a big part of that company now. That's his original inker. So yeah, I'd love to promote it.
And the continuity of Spawn comics, is a little bit wonky.
Yeah.
Certainly
for
the recent years. Yeah. So, Aaron, can't wait for I don't know if you I was about to suggest should we do a watch party of the original?
Original what?
The 97 movie.
I mean, it's not horrible. I just don't think
it's not that great. Well, I mean, Michael Jai White, has spoken pretty disparagingly of it in the ensuing years, which is because again, it's like him and John Leguizamo. Him as Spawn, John Leguizamo as the clown. I'd also probably throw in Martin Sheen as Jason Wynn. They're the best things about that movie. That and the makeup. The makeup is fantastic on Spawn and Violator. And the effects for the time, are so bad. Even on Hell. God, Hell looks. Oh man, Hell is bad. The effects.
And like I said, it was 1990s, and they were taking a risk on a character that had only been around for 5 years.
Yeah, because the turnaround in terms of like characters, introduced to comics versus when they make it in the movie. I mean, these days, you'll maybe see a little bit quicker, but even then, that tends to be more so with like supporting characters. But back then,
the Crow before Spawn. Spawn is the quickest. The Crow was 6 years. The Spawn was 5 years. Venom was 17. So you got, generally you're around a lot of time. San Diego Comic-Con, the Penguin, they're gonna have a ice cream truck around the vicinity of San Diego Comic-Con. So I will definitely make it there to make sure I get pictures next to this and we buy some ice cream. Also, I saw somebody didn't tag me, but they brought this to my attention because I hate being tagged. This question that somebody asked real quick, and I generally don't respond to shit on Twitter because I don't care. This I did care about. Somebody posted a question. Comic book addicts, and do you think comic books are dying out? And I get this question all the time. And I've walked you guys. It's harder for me to illustrate it here than it is when I walk you around the store when we do our remotes and stuff like that, because you're making billions of dollars on IP, so the regard and the care for comic books is still there. And people, well, that's different. Yeah, but interest is interest. It's up to, if comic book stores and as a genre want to stay around, you have to be creative. You have to think out the box. Most of us are, but the interest in an IP is there. So, and what I wrote basically, are they dying? No, but the approach has to be adjusted to create and connect with new readers. The interest in an IP is there, as demonstrated in the billions collectively earned by movies based on them. When you come into my place, and you're just one of these guys that is just, I call you a screen junkie, because that's all you know is what's on the screen. It's up to me to connect you to that IP.
Yeah, well, and that's that's not a bad thing. I mean that is it does show in a lot of ways it's a good problem to have to the extent that it's a problem, because it does show the impact and how embedded comic book characters and storytelling have become in within the movies and TV and all mediums. I remember Stephen Colbert, one of my old colleagues at Screen Rant, he did an interview with a couple of the animators of the Superman the Animated Series a while back, and I remember reading one thing they told him that I remember reading in that interview. He said what a lot of people, and I don't have to verbatim, I need to read it again, to quote it fully, but one of the things that, when the filmmakers or animators or what have you, are coordinating with the comic book people, a lot of times because this material and these characters have become so ubiquitous in our culture, in a lot of ways, DC and Marvel have kind of almost begun to view comic books as kind of like the equivalent of R&D for these characters, in this, and I think that's reflected in the way a lot of the stories get adapted, where it's like you'll have something like Old Man Logan, that's published as a comic book story, and it's adapted in multiple in multiple iterations, both through the Logan movie and upcoming in Deadpool Wolverine. Same thing with Dark Knight Returns, seeing it through. I know William hates the movie Dark Knight Rises and Batman v Superman.
It's a bad. I don't hate anything. It's just a bad movie.
Yeah, but again, that's to kind of illustrate the point. That's in a lot of ways, it's like the comics are their foundation for how they've established these characters in these worlds, and because we've had that snowball effect of they're visible in every form of entertainment now. That comics are kind of they are the foundational pillar, but the companies now look at them again equivalent like R&D, which is like that's not a bad way to look at it from a business standpoint or from a storytelling standpoint.
Well, what needs to happen is there's two aspects of it that will always, the companies that make these movies and the comics, Marvel Studios and Disney, they all own most of their IPs. So the studio owns the company that prints the media in both cases. So if it's up to them to think it's worthwhile and a worthwhile investment, and to be able to make the connection. If you have, and this is what I always say, don't just get excited about a fucking movie coming out on July 11th. I don't give two shits about James Gunn's Superman and the totality of things. What fucking one movie coming out for 2 hours is going to do for me? Not one goddamn thing. Not from a retail point, not from an interest point, not shit. What needs to happen is both ends of the retail spectrum need to hype up everything about their company, so that that movie can be a starting point for other things. Right now, the company is so dilapidated, and in the way they operate is that it's all or nothing. So that's why when Scott Snyder does what he's doing, to me, that's brilliant because he's taking an entire brand approach. He's taking a multiple level approach, and I hope that's why I say they should all be sitting down somewhere in an office, Burbank or whatever it is. They should be sitting down with each other and trying to draw lines to whatever the other is doing to keep that. Listen, the frequency of movies is not going to keep you in business. All right, and the price point of comics is not alone going to keep you in business. But if you combine them and create an atmosphere of anticipation, they combined along with everything else that you got can do a lot for you. And that's why I think when people say comics are dying because they're only looking at it through one dimension, which is fair because the companies that operate these IPs are only exploiting them to very limited dimensions. But if they ever change their mind, but like I said, until then, it's up to the dealer to recognize who's coming to his door, gauge what kind of interest you think they might be into, what aspects did they like about what I could shit on Smallville because I made it clear I think Smallville is a complete fucking joke. But if you come into my store though, I'm going to be able to find you something. You're not going to walk out of there. I'm going to make that connection. You could bring me in the worst aspect of any IP that Smallville is pretty much at the top for me. But let's say you come through with the old Captain America thing from the 70s, and that's all you've ever seen.
Oh God, that's bad. That's a bad starting point.
It's bad. I mean, not as bad as Smoke Side, but
it's worse. It's far worse.
Anybody behind the counter is going to be able to make that connection.
Yeah.
So for right now, it's up to us, but it would be a lot easier if the companies took the Scott Snyder approach and just made you feel, really excited about everything. Not just in the Marvel, like I said, it's just still more people vastly who are know the MCU, but they don't ever give the actual paper IP the time of day. You got a very powerful company behind you. There's no reason for that, but they have to think that it's worth it. So somebody has to show them that it's worth the investment and the time and the capital to connect these things. And then, there you go.
It's doing well. Also, part of the reason too why they are doing well is, Todd McFarlane, probably more so than I think any creator in the comic book industry. It's like the dude's an entrepreneur. I mean, the dude he knows he looks at it very much from the perspective that William is laying out of having this very multi-tiered way for the audience to engage with the IP he's established. I mean, and he said he's talked about this, from the outset. It's like from he established Spawn in comic book form, that he was the guy who wanted to spread it out: animation, video games, action figures, movies. Because he wanted the audience, from whatever angle they're coming at Spawn to be able to, make the connection to the character, to the world, to Image Comics, from multiple different avenues. And that's really what William's laying out here. And Todd McFarlane. He's been ahead of the game in a lot of ways, much more so than I think almost any other comic book creator out there.
Yeah, go back to Movie Maniacs. I mean, it wasn't just Spawn either. I mean, he was making Crow figures. He was making John Carpenter the Thing figures. He got into that.
He knew he had something on his hands with Zack Snyder's Justice League action figures too.
Yeah. Now, also he learns from his mistakes as well, because Tom McFarlane went bankrupt because of a bunch of lawsuits and with that spat that he had with Neil Gaiman, where he ended up getting sued for the use of Angela. The part of Mr. Twitch, the guy Twitch that was in Spawn, it was based on a real person. That real person sued, and even so he went through a lot of stuff. And if there's a great documentary out there that shows you how it started, he went through all that, and then he turned it around, and he's where he is now today. So I think there's a lot of people who can learn just as much as from his mistakes as you could from his success, because he never gave up. He bet on himself, and he never gave up on himself, and that's something that you could apply to just about anything. So, all right, I think I covered all.
Yeah, I think Drogo says I want to watch Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool tomorrow. Okay, or Ryan's Wolverine. Okay, yeah. And Ruth actually, a good one for I think both of us here. William, DC Superman's based off of Superman Earth 1. I think much more so Earth 1. That's been kind of my point of connection comic wise with Man of Steel, what Man of Steel established in the DCU Superman is very much a Superman Earth One. But I mean, there's definitely threads of the John Byrne Superman and all different influences too. But that's kind of my main. I look at as the main foundation for the DCU Superman, for Henry Cavill Superman.
I'm going to go with neither of those. I think this is obviously going to be a matter of, I think nothing like Earth One. There aren't enough solid aspects of Man of Steel, the John Byrne version, which I loathe as a comic book collector, to where I see that. I never have been able to put my finger down on what I thought it was, but I also thought that the way the character is perceived was more like the Kingdom Come Superman would have been more than anything else.
Yeah, I could see that too. I could see that even though he's not explicitly like Henry Cavill's Superman, it's like I can see I can very easily envision like having the gray temples and having that suit and having that kind of general backstory and embodying that version. Yeah, so even though it's not a Kingdom Come adaptation, it's like I can definitely see he has a Kingdom Come feel to him.
I also think that not Zack Snyder, but Frank Miller's, even though he was only briefly in The Dark Knight Returns, the way he's in it reminds me a lot of what Zack Snyder was doing with Henry Cavill and a lot of other things. So, but once again, that's a man. That's you could ask 1,000 different people. They're going to give you 1,000 different answers, and none of them are going to be wrong. For me, I mean, I like Superman Earth One, but I personally don't see the connection. And I think Man of Steel is whatever. When I'm talking about Man of Steel, the comics, it was
talking about the John Byrne '86.
Yeah, not the movie, but the '87 run that he did after they butchered Superman after Crisis. But after that, but no, I would say for me, those two would be what I think.
It's
influence like DCU.
Chappie. I think he's talking about the Spawn movie here. As much as I like the film, but the CGI is horrible, as bad as the Scorpion King level.
Well, yeah. Scorpion King was still CGI was still new and it was still really expensive. And Spawn had no business even having anything remotely good to what it had. Like I said, it was a flyer that they took on a 5-year-old superhero at a time that Batman was still making the lion's share of comic book money. So.
Yeah. Droga, can we watch The Raid? Anytime, man. I mean, I think it's very clear I'm always up for it.
Yeah.
Ruth also asked fourth, she's asking fourth. I was not aware there's a Terrifier 3 trailer dropping tomorrow. So I mean, this week. I mean, it's like with it being Comic-Con week and Deadpool Wolverine also releasing. It's going to be a pretty crazy week as far as like trailers and online buzz for just shit for us to break down here. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
I know there's a Joker trailer that hits in the morning.
It's also that's tomorrow. Let's see what else you guys got for us here that we want to break down because I did see Longlegs after the watch party last night. I enjoyed it overall. It's a very creepy, very foreboding kind of horror movie, and it's kind of divided into chapters too. So I don't want to give too much away about the story.
Well, you just did by letting me know that it's broken up into chapters. Damn it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean that's not like a massive giveaway about it. Okay, but yeah, I did dig it. I had a lot of fun with Longlegs, and I definitely I can see the claim is very well earned here. So I'm sure we'll do a watch party of that, and I don't know. Do I want to gamble that William's gonna like it this time because I was so wrong about in Violent Nature?
It's who knows. That's very rare that I run into a movie like A Violent Nature. Those are
Ooh, holy shit!
What?
Well, as Vince just pointed out, we're getting rated on Twitch, and yes, we have as of right now 158 viewers through Twitch right now.
Oh, I just saw that right now. Wow.
So
nice.
Okay, well, this is the part where we say to you, everybody watching who's new, either through Twitter or Twitch. If you're not already, please like and subscribe to the Sci-Fi Center YouTube channel. We are getting close to 1,000 subscribers. We've crossed a pretty major threshold here in the last month or so, but getting monetized and then getting to the 1,000 subscriber mark that just adds that's that much bigger of a threshold as far as like anything all the stuff we want to do in the future. We've got, of course, we're doing here at Comic-Con that Williams and a couple of people on the ground with him are going to be breaking down. Of course, I'll be kind of helping remotely as much as possible. So yes, please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe our YouTube channel. We're loving the new love here.
Yeah, I'm putting the link into the Twitch right now.
We got some people in here on Twitch I've never seen. Rough Hades, how's it going? Street Quarter Becky, be sure to follow here. Yes, thank you. Oh, that's Vince. What? That's it's okay.
That's Street Corner Becky's him.
Yeah, just seeing seeing all these twitches in the chat, like where's this all coming from? It's like, yeah, yes, thank you guys, and we had a pretty. I mean, as much as I'm loath to admit it, we had a pretty good turnout for the Catwoman watch party too.
Oh, now it's dinging. It's me. Oh, cool. That's neat. That's neat. Thanks, Vince.
Yes, thank you, Vince, for there. Well, on that note, I mean, do we want to kind of break down any of the Comic-Con stuff that's going to be happening this week?
Yeah. Anybody got any questions? Oops, didn't want to do that. Watching the documentary. Hey, when I'm watching the documentary, it starts playing because I haven't been watching it for a while. Hold on. I just want to make sure. I want to go to our site, make sure that they have a link that they need to have. Let's see. Yeah, guys, on Twitch, if you're watching, obviously you're watching. There you go. There's the link. Thank you. And all right. Other than the ice cream truck, got the ice cream truck. I think he's going to be talking a little bit more about that. About Spawn at his panel, Todd McFarlane's panel. I don't know if Jason Blum is going to be there. What else is happening? It's just matter. It's just I got my microphone in today. I got my tablet, my thing that I'm gonna hang my tablet around my neck so that I can have a hands-free experience and be able to walk around. Probably have Rhea. Hopefully have Rhea with me a lot of times so she can hold the camera steady so when we are going for stuff. But like I said, on Thursday it's going to be a lot of live streams, a lot of just touring and going around and going to certain things and getting close-ups of things. And some of my interviews I have to figure out where they're going, exactly what time for the ones I have set up, and then where the opportunity presents myself, you may get a surprise interview. But right now, it's just those few that I have.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, you're going to be doing some stuff from within Hall H as well.
Yeah, we'll be at Hall H on third. Actually, no, we'll be at the very first event I go to on at Comic-Con will be Thursday, and that's the DC panel upstairs with the Batman Cape Crusader.
And when you flying out there? You flying out there Wednesday?
No, I'm flying out there on Thursday morning.
Oh, Thursday morning? Okay. Well, yeah, because it's only like an hour flight from Vegas.
Yeah, so
you just take off and land, basically.
Pretty much get your soda and then you're there. It'll only take me 45 minutes to an hour to escape hell. But yeah, the Matt Reeves will be up at the Cape Crusader panel. So that's going to be the first panel I go to. And after I leave that panel, it's just going to be pretty much walking around, taking lots of pictures, taking lots of short videos, talking to some vendors if they'll give me the time of day. And then after that's over, we'll probably leave there at about 5. And then we'll head from there to Deadpool. And from Deadpool, that'll be the first night hotel-wise or whatever I'm staying at. And then I'll probably, if I'm not too exhausted, I know I'm going to give it straight out of the theater review for Deadpool. It's not non-spoiler. And then I don't know for sure. I'm planning on doing a show Thursday night, but I got to be up super early because I got to get in the Friday line for McFarlane's 10 to 12. And then after that, we'll probably converge on wherever they're doing for Hall H as far as where we're to get our bracelets. So. And
Aaron has a question here. The one thing I want you to do, William, is to go to the AEW panel and hopefully.
Yeah, I am going to be at that panel, and I'm taking that with me. And just in case he's doing autographs, so that I can get that signed. I have Jay White signed it right now, but I want to have his signed.
And yeah, we're going to be we're gonna have a regular Saturday show too. This weekend, so that'll be like the most kind of thing that we maintain as far as like normal stuff we do. That'll be consistent this Comic-Con week. Other than that, it's like you get probably a lot more short videos than kind of like the through the week streams we do, because William's got to get up early for a lot of these things. But also, very important thing to bear in mind, everybody, is that because William is going to be in San Diego on Saturday, he can't host a watch party on Saturday or Sunday. So
I can shut one down, but I'm gonna leave that to you.
So that's what I say. It's like, look, when it comes to watch parties this weekend, look at me.
Yeah, look at all four of you. Look at them.
I'm the captain now.
all four of them that are going to be watching whatever obscure movies he throws at you. You go ahead and you.
Aaron's in my corner. Aaron's in my corner.
You, Aaron, and two other people.
Captain Brad. I like the sound of that.
And that's if he doesn't shut the stream down by accident, which I'm putting 50-50 odds on.
No, I did shut the stream down by accident when we did Kill Bill when you had to take off.
Yeah, but you left it on. I mean, so I don't know.
No, I didn't. I hit end stream and it ended.
Like I said, I don't think there's going to be too much damage done to the channel. So yeah, have at it. That's about it. I don't think I have any more.
Ruth had a question here. Let me see if I can find it. Well, it is also, yes, please like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Especially if you just came in from Twitch.
William, we able to ask pre-questions for you to ask vendors if you let us know who you're going to talk to?
I don't know who's going to be available. I mean, that's going to be those ones where I come in and I see enough people, there to where I'm not burdening them. So if there's like one guy handling a long ass line or something like that, but if there's a rep who's handing out cards and stuff like that, I'm going to approach them and say, yeah, I'll take your card. You know what? I'm going to blast your company on our YouTube channel right now, but can you give me like 2 or 3 minutes to explain what you're doing? Give me some information. I'll link you in our coverage, things like that. So, but I don't know exactly who's going to be available as far as because there's so many there and you don't know what kind of line they'll have. So yeah, it's going to be kind of random.
Yeah, no problem, Ruth. Arya says he can supervise. It was like I need training wheels to go through this. Oh my God.
Catwoman rewatch? Nah.
No, not in a million years. That movie's. I mean, words again. It can't be overstated how bad that movie is. Talk about like something like if we hadn't had things like Spider-Man and the X-Men and and the comic movies that really kind of set the comic movie era into motion in the 2000s. If Catwoman was like the normal, we would not be talking about CBMs today, because it's like would have killed it deader than a doornail.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean by those that particular time. The entire comic book presence wasn't as. It was 2 IPs putting out. It was Spider-Man and X-Men. Everything else is that you could get away with doing some certain things, and then you had Batman come along, and then as MCU started and the DCU, then like I said, as you get into those things, your margin for error shrunk, but you could put out bad shit and it wasn't going to hurt anything, because what else, the Nolan movies were barely pulling in 400 million at the time, so it wasn't like you had a whole bunch of eyes on top of the project.
Oh yes, and of course we are going to be doing a new charity drive here with between the release of Rebel Moon and Twilight of the Gods on Netflix. It's not going to be quite, we're not going to be shooting for it's not going to be like as extended as the previous one was, but we're going to do raise as much as we can. Although again, we didn't think we were going to raise 15 grand last time. So
I'm going to try to put us in the 2,500 realm for the entire campaign.
That's very doable. What are we doing? Yeah. This is one. Yeah, I've pondered, like, which is worse, Catwoman or Steel?
Steel.
I think I might lead towards Steel. I mean, as bad as Catwoman is.
Yeah, Steel is absolute trash. Let's see.
Steel is.
Plus, I'm biased because I can't stand the character. So keep that in
Well,
mind.
but you again, it's like this were asked the other night. It's like even for characters you don't like Steel or like Doomsday or like Venom or like this, that, and the other character, wouldn't you still stipulate it's like, okay, if you are going to put them in movies, at least at least do it in a way that like A is like presentable in the format of movie of cinematic storytelling, and B like at least has some kind of passing connection to their comic book origins.
Well, with BVS, that was you. I contend that that's not even Doomsday. I contend that that's not even Doomsday because Doomsday did not come from Zod. Doomsday did not have energy projection powers like that.
Well, but he's a spiky Kryptonian monster who kills Superman. So that,
and you don't even know that he's not even Kryptonian. He's up Kryptonian origin by virtue of the product that created him and the DNA, but you don't even know that in the original run.
Doomsday in BVS is far closer, far more far more comic accurate to Doomsday in the comics than
it is if that's Doomsday
than Steel in the Steel movie is.
Yeah, but like that's why I've always wanted to know because I heard he never really. I mean, they use the term Doomsday, but they never use it again.
Well, and even Zach, has said it's like we have that's another thing. It's like as far as like seeing the remainder of his plans for this arc, it's like how would this have factored into that? Is it's something he's still playing pretty close to the vest with. So, would love to see that as a part of it. But yeah, even for characters you don't care for. Wouldn't you still say it's like, okay, it's like, but don't get him as wrong as Steel got Steel.
Yeah, it was not very good, but Catwoman didn't do much better. But if I had the one between, if I had to make a decision, I guess it would be Steel being the worst of the two.
We're trying to get about 2,500 this time, which again, we did 15,000 last time. So that is very, very doable.
15.5, man. Stop forgetting about that 5 that we got.
Question: you talk about the worst movies ever. For me, it's disaster movie. The Freeburg Seltzer one. That is the worst movie I have ever laid eyes on. Is disaster movie, and I think William would probably say Howard the Duck.
Yeah, Howard the Duck. Tied between Howard the Duck, dudes in my car. And then, like I said, there's a lot of close seconds, like. Just a mere mention of Dumb and Dumber just wants me to slap the shit out of somebody. That's one of the worst fucking movies ever made, dude. Buffoonery at its best. All right, guys.
Again, it's like also going back to Aaron's comment. That's the other problem with Catwoman is a similar problem to Steel is that the character is all but unrecognizable from their comic book origins. So right away you're kind of you're beginning on a non-starter as far as like adapting the character to, which fans, we get it. It's where it's like there are elements of characters' origin stories that as far as like adapting them to movies or TV that they would necessitate being tweaked or being altered or being modified, and there have been times where that's been very beneficial to the character. I mean Blade, I think really. We think of like the public perception of Blade as a character. It's like it's predicated on him as the human vampire hybrid that Wesley Snipes established. But sometimes,
by the way, he's nothing like that in the comic.
No, he's not.
He's nothing like that. They just did. Wesley Snipes did Wesley Snipes, and
Yeah. Well, like in the since then, he has been taken much closer.
Well, yeah, that's
but
that's like when the X-Men came out. They were all. After 50 years of being colorful, once the X-Men movie took off, they all started wearing black leather.
Yeah, but it's like Catwoman, Steel. It's like they're so at best marginally connected to the characters that they of their namesake that it's not even. It's like it's right away you're starting off on the wrong foot, and then the fact you add in the fact that the movies themselves are very, 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 very bad.
There's a lot of different aspects of comic book stories that they use. Toby, they didn't use anything. They used the original Green Goblin encounter. That was done. Venom was not done like it was in the comics. None of the characters in the Toby series really came about that same way. I mean, their origins are similar,
Well,
Doc
even
Ock
Toby's
and all that.
Spider-Man, like the organic web shooters. That's an example of what I'm talking about. Where like they altered Spider-Man's origin, for Toby's, and it worked beautifully, and they eventually worked organic webbing into the comics, and then that paid off big time in a No Way Home when Andrew and Tom were like, you can actually do that.
Yeah. Andrews basically the only thing that you really saw, I mean, was the original encounter with Kurt Connor, but no particular run, and then Tom Holland's none, except for if you want to consider a loosely One Last Day type of storyline where he
One More Day.
One More Day, and that's after Civil War. Those would be the two impetus of that one, where people found out his identity, and then Mysterio did all that shit afterwards. Other than that, they didn't have runs. They had like specific aspects of the story, whatever they put, the collected composite, but no particular run. At the Cypher Center on the Twitch channel to do, dude. I do not know what I'm doing on Twitch. Okay, so go.
Ghosty Gaming.
Put /raid. I mean, in the URL or just in the.
Okay.
What is he? Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to copy that from the thing.
Yeah, I saw this too, Aaron. This news about Brendan Fraser playing. I'm really glad he's been making a comeback, because you read about some of the hard times he went through with his divorce, and like stuff in his personal life. Like he kind of went a little bit. He was in kind of a dark place for a couple of years, so I'm really glad that he's managed to bounce back. Because that really sucks. That always sucks seeing somebody very talented kind of fall off the radar there, and deal with like real life, personal and familial and financial struggles. No, Ruth, we will not be doing that. We will not be doing that.
I'm trying to figure out what he's wanting me to do here.
No, fourth, Ruth. That's no. Okay. Both of you behave yourselves in the comment, okay? Oh, okay. Here's what you're talking about.
Separation between the raid, or what do you want to? Or that's an O as in. Okay, I just did it. Now I'm back. I'm back where I was. Now what, Vince? Well, I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, he's saying put that in the Twitch chat?
Oh, okay. That's what I was asking.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Go back. Put that back up on the screen so I can see it.
Listen, I'm not going to say what you guys are talking about in the chat, but we are never doing that, okay?
They're asking for disaster movie.
Yeah, no, don't speak that into existence, man.
Oh, I saw dollars, so.
No, I saw dollars, but I didn't see donations, so we're not doing it. And even if I saw donations, we wouldn't be doing it. Especially since I get the channel to myself on Saturday, and I get to pick the viewing material, and it damn sure ain't going to be a free Burger Seltzer movie.
It says Ghost Gaming's raid settings do not allow me to raid this time.
It says you'll see an option will come up to raid another channel. Then click raid.
It's saying that it's not allowing me to do it.
And he says, "Wow, his law." Okay. So it's there might be some kind of like malfunction going here.
Okay. What? Hold on. What? Yeah.
Well, we
How
already knew
much?
about it. No.
How much? How much? What do we?
Yeah. So we decided we're not going to talk about that now. And no, it's not. It's we're going to be ending the show in just about 5 seconds here. So we'll great chat with you guys, and we'll talk to you on Saturday when we're watching like good stuff that I approve. What was that? I'm sorry. I think I can't hear. I can't hear William with any of his Machiavellian.
200.
This what was that? 2 billion? Okay. So see, try this. Vince is saying try this, so we can focus our attention here.
All right. The raid has been created.
Okay, so this is like, is this connecting with somebody else's Twitch? Because it sounded like you were kind of like playing around with something I like there, Vince.
Okay. So now I'm at somebody's gaming channel. Okay. Now I don't know what the fuck I'm doing now.
Yeah, this is like you guys are sending us down a kind of a rabbit hole here. Okay, he says then click right down.
I did. I'm rating him. I have him on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, fourth. That's
For that's what we will never be doing. So there you go. Okay, so it's been a fun stream with you, and so yeah, that's the show.
that dollar sign in the lower right.
You guys, I mean, does your tolerance for bad movies like ever is there like no floor to this for you guys?
All right.
Is there nothing bad enough for you guys to say like we will not do this? Is there nothing that you guys will say it doesn't matter like how much we poke fun at Brad's like even we can't stomach something that's horrible?
I accept fourth. Let's do it.
No, he doesn't accept it because I'm speaking on behalf of William because he's in a state of I'm his power of attorney right now and he's not going to speak for that. I go with Austin 3K. Yeah, Vince says yes. That's who you rate as a gaming channel.
Okay. So all of our views came over to him. Cool.
Oh, so they're coming. He's going to come to us now, or his viewers are going to come to us.
He may.
Oh, so the idea like you tag him and to let him know about your.
You're gonna have to ask Vince because I'm in unknown territory right now. What are we doing, Vince?
He says I'm talking to. Okay, I mean, is the idea of him like sending his viewers our way?
I see Street Corner Becky. So I guess I'll say hello.
Oh, okay. The idea is like, hey, your viewers are like us too. Just send them over here.
There you go. Oh, cool. Twitch is so confusing to me. It's not hard, but I just don't use it enough to really. Half a PSS for a bad movie. I just threw that number out there. What's your counter offer, Vint? Fourth?
When you think about that, a PS5. You could buy a PS5 or half a PS5, or you could put a PS5 on layaway for what you guys are suggesting we do here.
So yeah, he's trying to expand our viewers. So
Twitch viewers, yeah.
Twitch
he's trying to expand the viewers. Yeah. Well,
thank
again,
you. That's cool.
And that reminds me. Have you done that YouTube interview you were talking about?
Not yet. He's still on the road. I'm hoping to do it. Hoping to do it before I leave because I won't have enough time to do it.
Yeah.
Catwoman was 2, wasn't it? Yeah. Larry put up 1 and
yeah. So $2 billion, guys, for whatever bad movie you want to watch now. So it's $2 billion with a B. There you go.
Yeah,
no, we cannot. We've seen the whole series through, and we'll never do that again.
Stop eliminating possibilities.
I will eliminate possibilities once I've gone through them.
I'm not ignoring. That's Brad trying to ignore it.
Okay, so we've kind of this is where we usually wrap up the show. We've hit about an hour and a half, so yeah, we've got to go ahead and prepare for Comic Con in a few days here. So yeah, we'll be seeing you guys tomorrow evening. So any last words on any last
Yeah,
anything?
I'm waiting for fourth.
No, nobody's waiting for fourth.
Hey, fourth.
Fourth needs that money to feed his family. It's like it's just robbing Peter to pay Paul. Okay, it's like I mean,
That's
fourth.
okay.
Aren't you married and have kids? Like it's like we could call child welfare for what you're doing with the money you're taking
I'll
from
rob
from your pocket to fund this nonsense.
I'll rob Peter to pay Paul, and then I'll rob Paul.
No,
dude,
no,
that's
like well, that's a double robbery. Oh, good. Oh, wonderful. Oh, happy day.
You know what? Fuck you for just to piss that off. We'll do it for one.
No, we won't do it.
Same for blood in and blood. Same for blood in and blood out.
Not a bad amount. No, it's set in stone. When the first dollar amount we said, that is it.
No.
That is it. That's the dollar amount. That's not. It cannot be negotiated, renegotiated, or restipulated, or anything like that. Once it's uttered, it's set in stone, and that's it for all eternity.
Throw it down, fourth.
No, throw it down all you want. It's like you'll need $199 after that.
All right, do it.
Yeah, you need another 100 after that, man.
You too, Azteca. We'll do blood in, blood out for one.
Yeah, it's I may have to pull this up, guys, because I'm going to have to start getting strict here.
Well, you want to play stuff that's going to get us thrown off anyway. So why can't we try to bring in revenue for the? Yep, there we go.
Yeah, and yeah, for anybody else considering donating anything to the Sci-Fi Center this evening for any reason, any amount of money for this disaster movie cause, okay, I have a message for you. I have to play this verbatim. Anybody who's considering putting anything with a dollar sign next to it in the chat, this is all for you.
It's too late. Clinton just did.
Well, this is for Clint if he gets any further ideas. Anybody wants to follow him. Anybody who wants to donate anything further for the cause of disaster movie, just know.
Oh, not
one syllable. I'll hunt you down and gut you like a fish.
Okay, so you're going to give us a copyright strike instead, so we'll need the money. That's for a disaster movie.
It's for something that William doesn't want to do. So there you go.
It's on the screen.
It's no, it's
all right.
Oh, that's interesting, William. So thank you for mentioning.
It's already there. Thanks, Clint. I'll let you know when we schedule it.
Yeah, you schedule without me because I will never watch that movie again.
Go ahead and hit send.
No, you will not hit send. You will not hit send.
Meet the original price.
I'll do a hell of a lot worse than that. Oh, not this weekend, Ruth. No. Because I'm the captain now, and the captain will not take us.
That should be one of the ones he's obligated to do. Yeah, you should have to do that.
Yeah. I'm obligated to do it, and what's the penalty if I don't? Because I'm not going to do it.
Wow, just a team player.
Team player wanting to maintain my sanity and grip on reality.
I'm curious about you do that. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, really, guys, it's like you don't want to watch good stuff. I mean, here's a good one for you. How much you want to torture William with burger related media? It's like how much for that?
It's not torture for me. Let's do it.
Okay, you see, he's up for it, so do it. Do it right now. $10 for a good burger.
Oh, that's not worth the time.
Yeah, no, it's worth more than worth the time. Make sure you yes, please do. Please do. In fact, let me look back on where we're sitting at right now.
I think it's 7:14.
Yeah, what was the last I saw?
Yeah,
double check it. name a movie almost as bad as a disaster movie. Well, disaster movies is in the category all its own of badness, man.
Yeah, this is true.
Well, you guys also want to justify to me, like why these I'm misunderstanding the brilliant art behind just the dick and fart jokes of Scary Movie.
This is why. Because
because William has gotten senile in his old age, and I'm going to have to speak for him.
Because when they see your facial responses like that, that's worth the price of admission.
Oh, it's not worth the price of admission at Scary Movie, Meet the Spartans, or any other nonsense. So we're never ever doing disaster movie.
Well, we're already doing it. See,
no, we're not doing it. No, we're taking that money and running. It's like I will gladly rip people off on this one.
He lives here in Vegas with me.
Happily.
Clint knows where to find me if I rip him
commit
off.
Tax fraud on this if we have to. Okay.
Clint, it's like a drive away. He lives in the same city. I don't think it's going to be.
We'll tell him we'll send him a nice card. Brad, is there not that I've seen yet.
Ruth, she's enjoying watching you hit that high
even
point.
Chappie says it's bad. How bad do you have to be to get Chappie to start dissing on it, for God's sake?
Yeah, he'll flip. He loves it. All right. Any takers for Blood In, Blood Out? Azteca? Where we at?
Well, I don't even know what that is. So it's like, there's no.
That's a prison mafia movie.
Don't worry, Aaron. This Saturday, it's like I'm going to be pulling up stuff that we enjoy, that we don't have to suffer through all this nonsense that they, try to do all this mercenary nonsense with. Because William's going to be out of town with cats away, and the mice will play.
It's just
the
mice is going to shoot through the wires.
You see? Look at this right here. Okay, you want to, Aaron. I mean, you want to torture her too. You want to take this sweet, cheerful Australian friend of ours and just crush her soul.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like fun.
All right. No, I got off the Freeburg Assault train with disaster movies. Like I'm done with those guys. And then when those guys, I don't think their careers kind of petered out after I think somewhere around Vampires Suck. So they're out of they're more or less out of the gig now, and that's no big loss.
All right, guys. Well, that's gonna be it for tonight. I think I've done my work here is done. Added more to Brad's music.
Yeah, so the next one will be Saturday. Me choosing it, it will not be disaster movie because it will never be disaster movie.
He probably won't even start the stream.
Clint, I'm sorry, we're taking that $100 and just running, man. It's like this check will not be honored.
No, it's gonna be honored.
The hell it will be.
Yes, I will. All right, guys, that's about it. I got a headache. I've actually had a headache since I started. The only relief I had was watching Brad suffer. So,
yeah, well, you had to watch a bad movie to do it too. I mean, and that's the thing too. It's like William has this delayed reaction where it's like he goes into these bad movie watch parties. No, it's not Ruth. He goes to these bad, like Meet the Spartans and like Cat in the Hat with like this all this optimism. Like, oh, we got super chats. Channel's growing. Let's do this for for getting so I don't have to sleep on a park bench in San Diego.
Yeah,
and then you get 5 minutes in the movie, you're like, Brad was right.
I gotta
really
go.
Terrible.
I'll see you guys later. All right. I don't mind Uwe Boll movies. I have an appreciation for him that other people don't have. I think he's underrated. I don't think he's great, but I understand how filmmaking goes, and with the $7 he gets per film, he does a lot with it. So, yep, I am.
Not a Saturday, he ain't.
He's got to be like if you handed the ship over to Gilligan. Remember when Gilligan was at the helm? They crashed and they spent 15 years.
Guess what? They had look how much fun they had on that island where they just
wow, they were having a ball.
Oh yeah, it's like they just throw together like a hut out of like bamboo in like 5 minutes. So it's like they're doing just fine.
All right, guys. We will see you tomorrow night to go over our normal time, 11:30 to go over the Joker trailer and anything else that comes up, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed your Monday extended hours that you dealt with us. And headed towards Comic-Con. See you there. Thanks for all the support.